The sights and sounds of beautiful Canberra, our nation's capital, playing host to round one of the EROAD Australian Rally Championship. This is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Rally of Canberra, heading for a top of 28 degrees this afternoon. Some light clouds have cleared the district. After a little bit of rain yesterday, settling the dust, we are set for great conditions for rallying today. Chris Stubbs with you, Dean Herridge is alongside me, a very familiar name and face and voice of rallying in Australia. Dean, welcome to you. Welcome to a new season.
Another season. And as we start off here, Stubbs, the rally cars in the background. Perfect timing as we've got car number one on the stage, of course, joining what's going to be a fascinating season. I mean, what a lineup we've got this year.
That's it. We've got 6 rounds. We kick it all off here with the Toyota Gazoo Racing Rally of Canberra. And we work our way around the country before we end in God's country, in my homeland, down in Tassie. What a great way. And we've seen how tight this competition has been in recent years. Expecting more of the same this time around?
Absolutely. And I think particularly at the front end of the field, unbelievable talent. I mean, we've got WRC2 cars. I mean, these are amazing, dedicated rally cars. As we look at by the calendar, we visit nearly every state in the country. Yep. And the beauty about it, we've got such a big country, it's almost like a mini WRC. Every round has something a little bit unique, a little bit challenging about it, which makes it a true domestic series. 220
kilometres of competitive rallying this weekend across the 2 days. So a sprint round this weekend. Yep. So we know we've got Heat 1 today, Heat 2 tomorrow. We add up the points and we have a champion for the weekend. Conditions, what are you expecting? It is going to get warm this afternoon, and that rain yesterday, what do you think it will have done to the surface?
Just looking at what I could see on the way in here, probably dampen a little bit less chance of dust. Like there was no breeze. Like normally you would be panicky being car 2, 3 further back in the field to be dusty. There could still be pockets, but maybe that rain has helped some of the cars a little further back. It'll be dry conditions, quite loose. This is a challenging opening round. I mean, the opening day in actual fact, because it is so technical, these roads here on this side. We're on the west side of Canberra, very close to the CBD is what we love about coming to Canberra. The rally roads are so close. So challenge from that point of view. I don't think it'll play a big factor. Will be warm, as you say, but the breeze and the dust will be something they might talk about this afternoon.
So Tidbinbilla, the Forest here is where we are today. Tomorrow to Callan on the other side of Canberra. So we're covering our nation's capital. Something a little bit different in 2025, our Bosch Motorsport ballot. So our seedings, our top 3 had to draw from the envelope, and it was Hayden Paddon who led them away. What are you expecting from him? What a big addition to our field.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, he's the only New Zealander or Australia to win a round of the World Championship. It shows his class, European champion. Car 1, he'll talk about that being a positive for him. He's just come through this 22K stage. Be interesting for Jackie to go and have a chat to him and see what he's making of the conditions over there. So let's have a go to Jackie now and see what Hayden's got to say. Here is car number 1 on the road.
A big welcome to Jackie Shivey.
Hey, had a first bit of racing in Australia. How was that?
Yeah, difficult stage. The grip's very, very low. There's a lot of sweeping, so we're sliding around a lot, and the balance of the car is constantly changing, so struggled on that one a lot. Probably don't have quite the right tyres too, but anyway, we're here and we're learning.
Fantastic, thank you.
Stubbsy, I'm trying to spy what tyres he's gone on. If he's saying probably wrong tyre, I'm expecting he might have gone for a medium potentially, and maybe road sweeping. He talked sweeping the road very loose. I'd say he's going maybe at the moment car number 1, not the ideal place to be on the road at the moment. So long stage, I think he's expecting to burn a bit of time on this one.
Okay, so Hayden told us yesterday that he's not necessarily out to win this weekend. A little bit of damage limitation as he gets to know the way we do things in Australia and our roads here. Is that what you're thinking from what you've seen there?
A little bit sporting as well. Yeah. I mean, he's a top-class driver. He can win from the front, and don't get me wrong, if there's a chance to pounce, he will. What he'd be saying by that is, I'm happy to consolidate. You know, Harry and Scott particularly have a lot of experience in this championship. It's Harry's home rally. They test here. They know these conditions, what happens in the rain and stuff like that. So that's where it's advantageous for the local guys. So he's prepared to go, this is a 6-round series across the country. I'll ride my first one. He knows how he's won several New Zealand championships. He's won Asia Pacific, as I said, and 2 times he's won the European Championship as well. So he's playing the long game, I think, is what we read into that. But if there's a chance to pounce, he will pounce as Scott Petter comes to the line. So we know that Hayden's gone through in a 14:34.1. Let's see if Scotty Petter's made an impact, as we'll get to have a chat to him on the way through here.
Scott, how's the morning been?
Look, it's a very different car in the event than what the last year's car was. It's better than me at the moment. But yeah, not too bad. First stage was a little bit scary. This one's obviously a stage we've used before, so it's a good stage, yeah.
Was it an advantage being the second car?
Sorry, mate?
Was it an advantage being in a second car today?
Oh, look, I think so. You get the read of the marks, and he's braking later than I am sometimes, and I'm calling him I'm calling him names some other times, but no, generally speaking, he's driving really well out front.
Thank you.
So, Dean, you're involved in the background with this team as well. It's a brand new car. You haven't had a lot of time for yourself and Scott and everyone to get their heads around it. What have you made of it so far?
Well, obviously, Scott's loving the new car. It's just a little bit better, as you expect. It's an evolution, it's not a revolution. I mean, Skoda Motorsport know how to make a car. Last year's car was very good, and Scott showed it could be good. What he's trying to do is, when it's so tight, you're trying to find those little 1%ers about confidence. What I'm reading into that comment that he's making there is, all testing's well and good, but at the moment, Scotty, bring your A game, because he's saying the car's better than him. There's still a lot of nuances to learn, and you can test all you like, but out here, when the pressure's on, the stage and the full commitment's required, and you don't get a second chance. You don't get to go back into the park and go to the engineers and go, okay, can I have a look at this read? Can we play with this? It's now out there. I think what he's saying by that, he has gone nearly 7 seconds faster than Hayden. That's probably road position. I think he's been pretty impressed with Hayden. You are, ironically with these, you will see a little bit of marks on the road. He'll be judging, he's late on the brakes there. He's a little earlier there. He's a little wide here. So he's almost reading, getting a bit of a play on what Hayden's doing. Reading into that, I would suspect Harry's in the perfect spot if there's no dust at 3. He obviously won the opening stage, only 5 Ks, but won by a couple of seconds. This now will be very interesting. We're getting to the crux of it, 22 Ks of what's a tough road. Scott will be happy, but let's see what Harry does.
Hayden referred to the tyres, a lot of strategy at play. So once again, MRF, our control tyre this year, a soft tyre and then a harder compound as well. That's going to play a role today in choices, isn't it?
Potentially, because sometimes as a driver you don't want a choice. I mean, the beauty of of having a control tyre, they don't have any choice. You can't cut it. You can't make any modifications to it. So what you take is what you take. It's literally the compound choice. You can get a little bit, you can play around a little bit with tyres in regards to between stages. We might front to back them to try and make the most of them. You've only got 16 in the whole weekend. How you use them is up to you. But once you've got that tyre marked up and you've used it, you've got that tyre. You puncture with one, that's one of your allocation gone. So that plays a bit of a strategy. How many spares do you run? How long till you see the service crew? You run 2 spares. You've got the advantage of obviously having a bit of a safety net, because if you get a punch out early on in the stage, I can still commit and drive committed, but you're running an extra penalty away from the car. So a lot of things to consider. We're not getting a great look at what's going on with some of those those choices at the moment, but we'll find that out at service.
So Harry Bates is our defending champion, back-to-back defending champion, looking to equal his dad Neil as a 4-time Australian rally champion. He'll be your favourite again for this year, would you think?
You'd have to say on that, you'd have to say yes, that he would be the favourite, based on that for sure. So for that side of things, but that's a pressure they'll be happy to play as well. Just trying to see, he looks like he's limping in the front. That's damage more than a puncher, particularly right front. That's going to be a drama for the Pates crew, because they've still got 2 stages to do before they get to service. It's like it's collapsed. Oh no, here we go, right rear, wheel missing off the right rear. So go to the co-driver's side, no wheel on the back there.
You have a bit of foliage on your roof there. Challenging morning.
It was all going okay, but I made a mistake just back here, like 2 kilometres from the end, and we've torn the right rear out of the car. So, not ideal. Not an ideal start to the season. It's my mistake. It's very silly. It was not really from pushing, just a silly slight lapse in concentration towards the end there. So, anyway, that's life.
Better luck.
Wow, so that's huge news. Day one, our defending champion making a mistake, putting his hand up, and that is Rally Dean in a nutshell.
It is indeed. Let's have a chat to Lewis. Now, he may have got caught in a little bit of dust, if there was dust.
Did you have some better luck?
We had an okay stage. It's really tricky conditions. The grip's quite unpredictable. So I was pretty careful. It's easy to make a mistake, but we're going along okay.
Did you see anything of what happened out ahead?
Oh, I just saw. That's a shame. Easy to happen. It's so narrow in there. So many things to clip. And the grip levels are low, so it's a shame. Hopefully they can get it fixed.
All right, thank you.
There we go. So Just hearing from Lewis, really tricky conditions, mixed grip, and would that be because of the rain yesterday? Do you think some damp patches under the trees?
It's Canberra. It's the roads. I mean, at the end of the day, these are some of the trickier roads of the season. You can get caught out by that quite easy. So at the end of the day, I think I said to you on the drive out here, Stubbsy, this has a bit of attrition. You've got some of the world's best drivers when we used to Asia Pacific get caught out by this side. Harry had a little slip up. It's early in the rally. He'll be really dark himself if the mistake's on him. He had that happen a little bit early last year, so there's a little sign of maybe pressure, particularly when it's a silly mistake like that. The issue for him, he has no suspension in the back of that car. Like, he will be out for the morning, I'll guarantee it. They have 2 more stages to do before they get to service. So, to be honest, they'll go back to service, try and have the parts rectify the car, and try and get out there to salvage something from this afternoon and try and scrape some points.
Now, the good news, Dean, is because we're not an endurance round and we are a sprint event, today he can almost write that off now. And tomorrow,
it's a small advantage.
We're looking for the positives.
Yeah, absolutely, you've got to. But yeah, tomorrow he has to come out and make tomorrow count now. You know, at the end of the day, that mistake's done. Try and salvage something. Try and scrape points if you can. Learn a little bit about this afternoon. If they can get it back out there, that's a fairly big damage on the rear of that car. You know, I didn't see any suspension in there at all. No hub at all. So, have they got the parts in the truck as well? We'll be part of that. As Jackie will go down and have a chat to Alex.
Some damage on the front here.
How challenging were those stages?
Yeah, it's pretty tough out there. Yeah, rocks everywhere, massive ruts. Yeah, got the wheel ripped out of my hand at one point. So, yeah, it's tough out there. So, just try to survive that one.
So how bad is the damage to the car?
I don't think there's any bad damage. We might have a slow puncture. But yeah, wheel straight, so we'll soldier on.
All right, good luck. Thank you.
So he's referring to there, the car straight, so alignment's fine. The front bumpers are almost cosmetic on these cars now. You know, getting repped out of your hand, though, I mean, he's had an impact with that. It's just a wrench, so it's, you know, quite tricky from that point of view. But, you know, this is that's what rallying's all about.
So a bit of force just going through the steering wheel into the hands.
Yeah, correct. I mean, particularly if there's a stray rock or a gutter somewhere, these being quite technical, they've got a little less flow to them. So I think the part that always struggles on this side of Canberra is that there is no flow. It lends itself to the technical drivers who are quite precise on turn-in. Car setup's quite good. The braver, faster or outright drivers find it more challenging in here and end up having a few little dramas and errors. Sort of recap what's been an interesting 5 cars so far. So Scotty Petter leads the stage, 6.6 on Hayden Paddon. I think that would leap him to the lead of the rally or the heat so far. Lewis is 14 off Scotty's pace. Alex Rullo, 23 seconds. So that's a second to K. He'll be okay with that. You know, measured drive from him probably. And Harry, you know, okay, a minute 40 off Scott, but got bigger dramas there. So
it says something about the Bates brothers, doesn't it? And, of course, we're going to have to talk about them a lot this year, but the style difference, because Lewis is a little more finessed, isn't he? And Harry is perhaps a little more aggressive, and that ties back to what you said about what you need on this stage.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, you know, you would see sort of in the past, you know, Lewis is finding his form. He's very, very quick on some certain stages. Generally starts off a little slower than Harry. That's maybe the aggression side. Plays a potentially longer game.
Yes.
And in some ways, a Super Series round like you're talking about, or a heat format, probably doesn't lend itself to a Lewis as much, because he's probably better in the longer term, you know, 2 or 3 days. I mean, it makes a few less mistakes and stuff, being a little bit more precise. And we're talking minute little factors here. It's funny, you know, we were chatting to Neil, and he knows that his son's a slightly different style. They got slightly different setups. That's probably suspension clicks, maybe a ride height change or a spring difference in there and stuff like that. But overall, the car and the package very similar. Just some fine nuances to suit the driving style. Seems they don't have a lot of choice in behind.
Okay, so some huge drama to start the 2025 EROAD Australian Rally Championship there with Harry Bates. Lewis really came in the back half of last year, but Harry was pretty good from the outset.
Yeah. So Peter Rullo coming through. The Sun, only 1 car ahead. He's probably seeing some of the Sun's marks, etc. You know, Peter probably consolidating after a big accident in Tasmania the last round. So brand new shell. They've only had a couple of weeks to get that car sorted. Peter probably just be happy here to get through. Car looks in A1 condition at the moment.
So Peter, how are we feeling after that?
That was hard work. Yeah, we brake pedal was going to the floor for about the last 5 kilometres, but yeah, that's a hard one to get back into it.
Yeah, we've heard it's pretty challenging out there. Have you seen some of the other marks?
Yeah, I noticed someone in front of us has hit a couple of big things, so hopefully their cars are okay.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, there you have it, Dean. Exactly saying that some of the marks that he's seen in front of him have made him raise his eyebrows. But the combination that he's got here with Hayden Paddon in the Hyundais, they've really been able to already unlock some of that experience from Hayden in their setup, do you think?
Oh, they will. It'll be over time. It's about making and being confident you're making the right choices. So, I mean, they were fast. Alex is evolving. He's very rookie when it comes to rallying. So some of the stage times and the fact he's won stages is quite amazing. So I think what they need is some consolidation. You know, someone who's got the experience that you know you're going down the right path. Is our setup the right way? It just consolidates some of that so you know you're heading down the right areas. When you're sort of a little bit new to it, Peter himself, although he's done a lot on tarmac, hasn't done a lot on gravel either. So your engineering group's trying to be behind you. Hayden will add the confidence for them to know you're heading down the right path. Now just get in and drive it. Don't try and explore too much. I felt like last year, a lot of the times we would speak to the Rullos and even the Maguires back last year. Sometimes in the window, sometimes they're out of the window. What you want to be inside the window. You don't want to be talking about the car setup too much where it falls away from you. You want to have confidence. I think that's what Hayden will bring. He won't there's no magic bullet, but it's about making sure you're on the right path. What's Hayden's experience show? And then that gives you a bit of confidence that you're on down the right area. The car then's underneath you and you can commit to the car. So
it's interesting you talk about Peter having a chat to him last night and that transition from tarmac. At first, he was just like, no way, the gravel, he's like, that's not for me. And now the passion and the love that he's developed for it, like everyone. Once you get a taste of rally, it's in your blood, right?
It's addictive, yeah. And I think the thing is, I mean, he will transition to be very good on tarmac, clearly, as is Alex, you know, where they come from. There's something about, you know, the car sliding, the combination with the co-driver, the notes and committing to notes, and the commitment required to drive fast through this stage. I mean, at the leading edge here, and particularly these Rally 2 cars, these, like I said, are dedicated rally cars. They're not production cars turned into rally cars, dedicated for this. They're unbelievably good to drive and rewarding when you get it right. And so there's not much out there where you can do 22 kilometres of individual, have the road to yourself, sliding sideways between the bush and stuff. Is a pretty amazing feeling when it goes right. Harry's probably not feeling that at the moment. I mean, the marks I was expecting, somewhere in there is a whole wheel and a tyre attached to it and a hub out there somewhere. So I mean, it's probably gone into the bush somewhere, but it'll be a fairly big mark of where Harry's made that mistake.
And all the Canberrans, all the locals will be racing. They'll be on their dirt bikes to try and find a hub or something, a little part to take home from the defending champions car.
He mightn't be too happy to sign it at the moment, but I mean, saying that, I've lost the wheel here myself, mainly in Cowan, to be honest, because that's more of a car breaker. This one, he said, put his hand up. I mean, hats off to Harry. He's not making an excuse. No. It's clearly tricky. It's loose. He said, my mistake. You know, yep. And then he's put his hand up to say, I've made the error. It's probably gone a bit too committed, smacked a bank or something like that, and therefore he's paid big time. This sport is, you know, down to tenths of a second, and sometimes you can get away with a massive moment and go off the road completely and hit nothing, and sometimes you can make a mistake by inches and you pay for it big time. So until we see the onboard, we won't know exactly what happened, but that's a big consequence for him.
And you'll see the onboard. I'm sure they'll release it to us. I hope they'll release it to us. Anyway, you'll see it, of course, on our socials throughout the weekend here for the Australian Rally Championship. Great to have everyone's company that's tuning in at the moment. We'll be back for another live stage this afternoon from 2 p.m, so looking forward to that. 2 stages a day we're doing live. It's a new concept here this year, and we're very much looking forward to bringing it to you throughout the year. A shout out to Apache Media, Andrew Jansen, who's overseeing this, and also to Innate Events Group, who are taking over this year the leadership of the EROAD Australian Rally Championship. There's a lot of moving parts to our calendar, isn't there, of bringing it all together? Yeah,
and it's one of the things. It's not an arena sport. It's not anything like that. You know, it's a really complex sport to bring to people. I mean, it's one of the things to go out and might be spectator stage, etc. But you know, this is the part that we're trying to do. We're trying to bring live stages from the middle of a Canberran forest. You know, to have drone shots and try and bring that to people is a complicated thing.
Yeah, and great to see last night the rally show back in Canberra as well. That was a great addition. Great to see everyone out in the CBD supporting their fans, their heroes, and both ways, wasn't it? It was the drivers so excited to see the fans getting an autograph, and the buzz and love. This is a time-honoured event in Canberra, isn't it?
Yeah, particularly, like I said, it is not too far out to go. I mean, in some of the places we go to, we're not near the capital city. You know, we have to be in a regional area or something like that, which is great for that section. So to be close to, you know, the nation's capital, rallying to the people, and particularly these cars. I mean, like I said, Back in my day with Subaru, etc., it was a production car turned into a rally car, which is cool in itself. But these are amazing bits of kit to
and
look
expensive.
at.
We're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars, aren't we? And I don't really want to put you on the spot and ask you how much Scott's car would have cost, because you would know to the very dollar. But we're talking hundreds of thousands to invest in a Rally 2 top spec brand new car.
Yeah, this is we talk about Formula One being the pinnacle of motorsport, and we know that's expensive and they're dedicated cars. The World Championship Rally 1 cars are that level. These are the next tier down. These are the ones snapping at the heels of the WRC, developed by manufacturers who spend hundreds of millions of dollars, developing and selling these cars. We'll use Scott's case in point. He basically had to. There's such a demand for these around the world. He had to try and showcase that we have an amazing championship that's very competitive. Toyota are here, Hyundai here, Hayden Paddon's coming to play against the Bateses. I need everything Skoda to give me the best chance. They leapfrogged him 40 cars ahead to go, right, we'll try and support this exercise. It was still it'd be air freighted over. That would be expensive, air freighted car over here. But it shows you that that's how much dedication around the world for this style of motorsport, and particularly rallying. So it's amazing. And to see the likes, we have world-class drivers, no doubt about it. I'll guarantee you that Scott, Hayden showed it, and here's our top guys from last year battling with Hayden Paddon. So there you go, who's won a World Rally Championship round at the death knock against one of the best, Sebastian Ogier, went back when he drove for the Works Hyundai team. So our guys will run anywhere in the world at the highest level, and to bring these cars here and if you get an opportunity to come and spectate, they are unbelievable to see in the forest, and it takes a lot of commitment to drive them fast.
Now, Dino, what's going on with Scotty's old car? Is there an opportunity there for someone
Do you want to drive?
Listening? And well, maybe.
We're going to try and bring out the second car.
Give me a couple of rounds to get my head around it, right? But is there an opportunity if someone's listening at home or watching on, there's a car out there that's very quick and could perhaps have a driver?
It's going to try and come out there do some rounds later in the year, etc. And if you're probably new to the sport, I'd probably recommend getting involved in one of our productional class cars that we'll talk about throughout the weekend and stuff.
Even now, while we're waiting for our next competitor to greet us here at the finish, talk us through the class structures. There's multiple opportunities for people to be involved.
Particularly I talked about, back in my time, Subaru, production. Then you move forward and have, as we got the Mitsubishi coming towards us now. So I think we've got a bit of a break in some of the cars that are coming through. This looks like it could be Josh Wiedman, who's weaving around a little bit. So we haven't had come through Josh Redhead or Tom Clark. So that's probably why I heard a bit of a break in proceedings. But four-wheel drive turbo car, we have rear-wheel drive, classic cars, the WX Challenge 1 Make Series that are running rounds as well. So let's have a chat here and see what's going on.
Hey Josh, how challenging was that one?
It's a bit difficult. It's very long and very tiring, so just everything started getting hot real fast, so just sort of backed it off in the end there. But apart from that, it was good.
Are the new cars still going good?
Yeah, the new car's awesome. I love it.
So good luck.
And that's the new car. He used to be in a Subaru, didn't he? In a 95
an
Subaru.
Older one, Look at that, it's got a P plate on it. How good's that though? On your P plates, be running through the forest. He talked about it getting hot. We did touch point on Peter Rullo. Weird for him to have some brake fade in there. These cars are custom built, as we say. They're used to the rigours of this. You potentially might find that he's overworking the brakes a little more through here. These technical stages, this sort of safety, a lot of the drivers will left foot brake and things. So it's probably not getting the flow or the bigger straights where you can get some air through the car. And then Josh is sort of saying everything's starting to heat up. I don't know whether he's talking about engine temp or brake temp and stuff. So, no breeze, not big straights, on the brake a lot and off the brake. So, sometimes the more nervous you are with the car and the more you're sort of a little bit unsure, you're actually going to be a little harder on the car than the guys who are fully committed who make one decision. Big accelerations, big brake, big stop. Cars are made for that. Lots of in between. You're braking the diff cycle, the diff load, the brake temp goes up, the tyre temp goes up, and all those sorts of things as well. So.
Dean, physically, we just heard Josh then say it's pretty tiring, pretty taxing on him. First event of the year, how much of a pre-season have some of the drivers put in? What goes first? Is it the quads on the brakes? What is it? Is it the arms? Is it the shoulders from the tension of everything you're trying to soak in on your first one back?
Well, if you're tense, it's definitely the shoulders, but I guess because you're braced in the seat so well with the torso, for me, it was always the thick seat. It'd be in your leg. It'd be cramping in the leg and stuff like that that you try to limber up for, etc. The other part of it for me is very hard to replicate rallying from a practice point of view. You can simulate as much as you want, or bits and pieces nowadays that a lot of people do. There is I think the reason why some of the most successful drivers we have, it's experience based. It's not necessarily in enthusiasm or young base or braveness, etc. there's an element of experience that comes in here.
Almost a bit of muscle memory.
Yeah, correct. And so, this is actually, knowing driving on these roads, it doesn't surprise me that these are tricky conditions and loose and stuff is what we expect this rally to bring in, particularly this day. There can be some other roads where they're a little more, a little easier to do, a little easier to digest mentally. The pace notes are a little easier to run with. This will have no flow to it. So the part of that is it is almost muscle memory. You just feel foreign. You just don't feel like you're at one with it. Maybe this afternoon that comes back a little bit, but for opening stages, when you haven't sort of been in the groove, and like I said, you can test all you like and have the pace notes on the same set of 4-kilometre roads or test nothing like the stage itself and the rigours. And that's where experience comes in this sport.
Well, Dean, I must say your pre-season has been a good one. You're looking trim, taut and terrific thanks to your daughter, who's a PT.
Oh, shout out to Amber. Yeah, she's trying to get me to the gym more often, so you're not helping me here, by the way.
Now, Tom Clark is one of the cars that we thought we would have seen by now. He's had some issues, hasn't he, just making it to the start line today after a bit of a roll with Simon Chapman from Speedcafe in testing here. A week ago, he had the black car that he got everyone at the rally show last night to sign with the neon texters. So it's a great look, the livery, and that was a great idea from a member of his team to do that. It was great that everyone could actually ride on a car. You don't get that opportunity too often. What a character and what a great job just to get to the start line.
He is fantastic for the sport. I love Tom. It's his business that supports our production cup through the various business that he has. So, he's got a passion for the sport and making it successful at all levels of it. We would love to see him come through and trying to sort of scour now our rally safe to see he might be in the stage, etc. I hate the phrase because if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all, Tom. I'll tell you, he just doesn't have a clean run on that car. I just want him to have one good stage because when he's on it, he actually is very competitive. He's a good steerer. Last year at certain aspects when he was trying to wait for his car to be repaired, he'd jump in the classic car and he'd be uber competitive and he'd be a crowd favourite, etc. And last night showed, how cool to be able to go up there in the car. I wanted to see it come towards us because it actually looked quite good.
It looks great.
Yeah,
and some of the messages, good. I'm not sure that the camera would be able to show some of the things that are written. There's a few phone numbers on
and you signed the windscreen. I'm sure yours got, I'm sure it's not on there now. Yeah. And on the driver's side being a left hooker. Mine was more... strategically placed with maybe a Subaru logo or something on top.
Of course.
Just to get my bit in there. Yeah,
my blue blood. Yeah,
that's
correct.
It. So
fantastic stuff.
And also looks like missing Josh Redhead, who's in an AP4 car. So just to, explain one of the parts of that, an AP4 is an Asia Pacific style car. So back when we were transitioning from production cars, we're trying to open ourselves up to other manufacturing opportunities. We opened the freedoms up to allow almost free stuff. So it was Australia, New Zealand, or the Asia Pacific version of these cars are as factory cars and outfits as unbelievable are. These are a more affordable version, but a step up or a level above what we would expect to be in a production car. So he was in behind the wheel, one of those, a round winner with the likes of a former champion Nathan Quinn behind the wheel, and a very good New South Wales competitor trying to make his way through the RC. So a shame that we haven't seen him come through either.
Well, your eyes just lit up because there's a Subaru rolling up. So let's get some insight from Jackie.
How tough was it out there?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. There's a couple of tricky bits in there, some big holes and a few cars off, but kept your momentum going. It was okay. I don't know how we went, but it felt fast.
Yeah, tell us more about the cars that have stopped.
I don't know. They're all parked off the side. I think it's mechanical. If you go off the line, you're probably missing a wheel. So it's pretty tough in places. But hey, it's so much fun. Well done to the guys putting it on. This is awesome.
We'll enjoy the rest of it.
Andrew Penny there, he's got a little bit of damage on the front right of his, but just saying he thinks mechanical for some of the other guys we've just been talking about, and if you get offline, it does get rough pretty quickly.
Well, he picked it. He probably didn't see Harry Bates' wheel there, but he said if you go offline, you're probably missing a wheel. Well, that was correct. But it's showing... We talked about the attrition on the way out here when we were driving out here, so we haven't seen Josh Redhead. Michael Harding missing in his Subaru. So obviously, Andrew Penny, Reese Llewellyn, actually quite seasoned campaigners. We're also missing Stuart Reid, who's making a comeback as well. So that's a shame that he might be parked in there somewhere. Whether that's mechanical or a driver error, we obviously don't know at the moment. Knowing Stuart Reid, probably be mechanical. He's a very good steerer with lots of experience. I remember racing him. As we have a front-wheel drive car here, Tony Sullins, man with much experience, Kaylee Newell along board, chose to bring the Citroen out here, the MRF man. Let's see what he's got to say.
So you survived that. How was it?
That was good. The first stage was rubbish in this little front-wheel drive car. It was just too many left and rights and over hills, and I just had no traction. That one is a few more corners you can flow together, so our time won't be great, but pretty good for a two-wheel drive car.
And the car's holding up all right?
Yeah, the car's great. Yeah, brilliant.
Because there's been a few stopped. Can you tell us about those?
There's 2 or 3 stopped in the stage already, and they all look like they're fine. They must be mechanicals, I'd say.
All right, thank you.
A real war of attrition already on day one of the
On the second stage.
That's it. So our first stage was labelled DFib. So it was a little bit of a different stage, some similar roads to what we've seen in recent years here, but a new way that it's been put together. And it was called that because it was the heart starter. It was to get everyone's heart started for the beginning of the Toyota Gazoo Rally of Canberra. And I think that was quite fitting.
The organisers got some tweaky names sometimes. That's quite a good one. I hadn't heard that one before.
Some good insights there, though, wasn't it, in terms of the different cars, the front-wheel drive, how the different stages plays to the strengths and weaknesses of our different cars.
So here for for a little while there, we had a front-wheel drive series. Like literally everyone was in a front-wheel drive or a two-wheel drive, I should say, car. The front-wheel drive cars were probably slightly quicker than the rear-wheel drive, but you struggle for traction. Clearly, you don't have the mechanical diffs, you don't have the four-wheel drive system. So particularly through here, that front-wheel drive car of Tony, despite his experience, is at some points just struggling for traction. At the end of the day, it's technical, like we said. This is quite a loose surface. He'll probably be a little bit better and a little quicker in an overall sense, even though he's not necessarily playing for outright cheap stations tomorrow, when it's a little more flowing and stuff like that, and other rounds will lend itself. This will be a tricky day for him today in regards to outright speed.
And of course, Ty in there, the distributor for MRF, for our controlled tyres.
Yeah,
so
correct.
It's great to see the car all labelled up, looking after his bosses.
As he should do, yeah. And that's a big operation. It's one thing to have that to be the sole supplier, but like we said, there's two compounds. There's different sizes, of course, because some of the classes will run a different size tyre. So it's not just like one size fits all. So as you're trying to support the whole series, you need slightly different sizes. They're left and rights and stuff like that. So all of a sudden someone's trying to make their stockpiles work. So to carry that amount of infrastructure, Pinnacle Tyres and the team do a great job of getting to every round and making that accessible to the league teams and for the privateers and the like. So.
Shout out, while we're on the note of our sponsors of the series, also to Storm Tech, who've dressed us and kept us nice and warm. A little chilly in Canberra in the forest this morning, but going to warm up this afternoon, 28 degrees. And to speedcafe.com, of course, Speedcafe, Australia's leading motorsport website. They're carrying our coverage and some exclusive insights and bits and pieces as well throughout the year. So welcome to Speedcafe.
And we've gone for the Storm Tech jackets. Jackie's obviously she's a little more free flowing there with the shirt on.
She's the Queenslander.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but in actual fact, if we're in the sun, it actually is quite warm out there. So will, I think, as you alluded to, be warmer as the day progresses and be quite hot in the cars. Actually, a little bit humid in a way. Like the temperatures get up quite high in the cars. You have a roof vent, place two rolls if you see them, if you've got it open. It can actually keep the dust out because it sort of basically pressurizes the cab of the car, has two rolls, and then you're getting a little bit of ducting through. But, they don't run air conditioners, none of that stuff. That's all out the window. So as the ambient temperature comes up, generally it's plus 30 degrees inside the car. Full race suits on, FIA underwear, balaclavas and stuff like that. It can start to get quite taxing, particularly later in the day. When
we talk about parts and Harry and the repairs on that car, luckily they're the probably best resource team that we have here in our competition. They'll have everything they need to get him back out the start.
I'd be surprised if they don't. Early last year, because the car was quite new, they possibly didn't. But like you said, that's depending on what it's done in regards to, from what I remember, and I probably took a photo here, it's pulled the shock out. There was no hubs. That's fine. But so they need a complete hub. They need to have the arms that extend. The bit that would be worrying is, has it damaged the chassis to where some of those bits go to? Possibly not. I mean, maybe where the suspension or the damper bolts up to the top of the chassis. Those other arms look to be broken at the end. They'll just replace those. Probably what's lucky is didn't look like there's any big impact damage around the chassis anywhere else. I mean, enough to rip a wheel off, but not where they go, wow, we've got a lot of cosmetic or body damage. How are we going to get the car aligned and things? I feel like it shouldn't be too bad. If they've got all the bits, you better focus on that. It's one thing to have the parts and bolt them on. How's the alignment set up for that?
Yes.
Because you could bolt it together, but if the thing's tracking wrong, that's a handful for the driver. So you're sort of fighting with one arm behind your back. So that's what they'll have to play out. Like you said, today will be a salvage result, and they would be keen to come out to be ready for tomorrow.
To make sure it is aligned.
Yeah, correct. So even if they don't get points, it'll be important to go, like you said, what's it like? Is there any characteristics, any other dramas we've got going on with the car that we can bring out today, and then make sure that we fight strong tomorrow.
Well, we know that they're charged up on caffeine, so the mechanics that we saw earlier today, hopefully they're ready to go. They're going to have
our coffee stop was longer because Toyota literally booked out the whole place. We at least knew we were in the right place to get coffee here in Canberra.
It was the worst team to be behind in the line because they're the biggest team.
Yeah, great. One of the bigger teams making a massive coffee order. But it means we were at the right place. But that's where these guys are unbelievable. Like, I mean, for you and I, we'd look at that and, scratch our head on how we could help out. This is where that truly becomes a team sport. Without that support from the team, Harry's game over for the whole weekend. And these guys can perform miracles, so they'll get their teeth. And if Harry salvages anything out of this weekend, a lot will be owed to the team.
That's it. So still just some clouds around at the moment, some patchy clouds. We're ready for our next competitor to come home. Unclear exactly on where we're tracking at the moment with so many cars having mechanical issues.
So there's like the Subaru, the non-turbo version, car 15, great young team. Jaden Gluskie just missed out on the junior championship last year, but great to have them here in the first round, and we'll fight for that as well as Production Cup in an overall sense. We've
heard it's been a bit challenging out there. How was it?
It was very challenging, especially being towards the back of the field behind the Rally 2 cars. All the rocks are everywhere. We happened to hit one that was pretty big. I think I got away with it. I did think I had a puncture to begin with, but I think just because it was such a long stage and we didn't get much time after the last one, I just think the tyre pressures were a bit wrong as well. So, but yeah, it certainly was challenging. I'm taking it very easy.
All right, good luck for the rest of it.
Thank you.
A couple of points there, if we could pick up on Dean in terms of the tyre pressures and the opportunities there and the different conditions, and perhaps some getting it right, perhaps day one, some missing the mark a little bit.
Well, and the thing is, it is interesting that sometimes the driver think, well, why is this car not turning in? It feels a little different. Have I got a puncture? I didn't think I hit anything, etc. But sometimes the tyre can go off. I suspect by him saying he's got that wrong, he's probably not taken enough pressure out. They've got quite hot. Like I said, lots of work on the brake here. That temperature goes into the tyre. If it gets a little bit too hot, it's not processing at its best. It's the tyre's sort of scrambling around on top. But there's a balance between bleeding off enough pressure to be able to do a stage like this, but yet go to the next stage, which will be shorter because everything cools up and down. So there's always a little mini compromise in there. It's not like they're running compressors in here and getting the match perfect for everything. You've got to try and build your way up to making those right choices.
Quite mature comments, actually, then, wasn't it, as well, to say, I've just backed it off. Like, he thought there was a puncture, he thought there were some issues, and saw the issues from others and just pulled it back to finish first. First you have to finish. And I like that.
That old line. And if you look at that there, I mean, there's some big gaps starting to appear away from our lead cars. I mean, if you look at Pete Rullo through there, I mean, the one that stands out to me there is Josh Wiedman. He's in the Mitsubishi, young guy, had the P plates on.
Yep.
He's a minute 35 off the lead. That's fine. We won't worry about that. But he's just taken 20 seconds off Peter Rullo, who's in a Rally 2 car. So this is one thing I do like about the sport. Talent can shine through. He's not in a Rally 2 car, but we can tell the guy's got talent. He's done a great job. He's got through. And even for these young guys, the Gluskies, guys and girls, but mature approach, because they could have quite easily speared it off, get a little bit of the red mist going through there, and they're parked where everyone else is. So as you're later down the field and you're learning the sport, you start to pick up on this. Hang on, there's a few triangles out here. There's a few warning boards, a few cars off. Just consolidate, learn along the way. You don't learn anything walking out of the stages. Was the big lesson I got told by my dad back in the day. There's no prizes for walking out of the stages.
And again, Josh transitioning into a new car. It is a very different car. It's not just an update on the model. It's a whole new manufacturer. No. So he's had a lot to learn. So that's a great job.
Yeah, and they are quite different in actual fact. Like you said, he had an older generation Subaru, are very mechanical. This will have have more technology in it in regards to diffs and things. It's a Mitsubishi, as you say. They actually handle very different from Subaru in that regard. So, like you said, he's had a rally under his belt in Queensland, won his first state championship round in Queensland, so that shows again that he's got the talent to do it. And that was a mature run, because these are tricky stages that we keep getting told by everybody. So.
And the Rally 2 cars kicking out the rocks as well. So these guys are just having everything thrown at them.
The further back you go, it's a bit like when we used to have the World Rally Championship in Australia, and particularly in Perth. There were certain roads and sections where it used to get dug up. They had so much power and torque and things that by the time you would come through at car 30, they're like the tram tracks. And there's an art to drive through those. And remember, we come back and repeat this stage this afternoon. Like the 4 stages, we get to service, we repeat them. So other things. A bit ambitious on that note. There's a new stage for me. I'll downgrade that, etc. So there's a lot of stuff that you can add to help complement your next run through to make it safer and or faster.
So we've got another Subaru coming through now. Nice looking livery on this one as well. The pink on top with the mix of blue.
Great to have Nathan Stokes and Ian Wheeler back on board. They were involved in an accident with another car, would you believe, Luke, and here in Queensland, and that's why it's looking very flash and sporty here.
We've heard it's really challenging out there. How did you go?
Yeah, really, really rough and bumpy. It's chewed up a lot. Really, a lot of big rocks, big trenches. It's really difficult, hard on the gear. But we had fun.
How's the car holding up?
Yes, it's going well so far. A little bit of a overheating problem, but I think we've been on top of that. We're all good.
Thank you. Good luck.
I didn't hear any of that, so it was over to you, mate.
We both looked at each other. Who's going to pick up off that? A little hard to hear. But
I didn't hear anything that he said, but once again, looking good. And that outfit, that's looked after by the Les Walkton group. Ryan, who now leads that operation in regards to Les Walkton Rally, are named synonymous. I've run with Les back in the day. Ollie Taylor, they won championships together. Michael Guest, Ed Ordinsky, the list go on. He's even had Simon Evans. So great that the Les Walkton team and that is still about doing stuff. So.
Almost ready to go to Jackie once more as we have the Lancer head to the line.
Yeah, Jody. So Jody Mill here and James Ford in their Evo. And like you said, for the fact that they were seated 19, I feel like we've only had about 11 cars come through. I feel there's more cars parked in there than they've even seen at this point.
So how was that?
Challenging. Yeah, very cresty, and yeah, it was good fun. Good fun, but just try and keep it in the middle.
So there's quite a few cars still out there that you passed.
We passed Tom. He's still mobile. He was a couple of k's back. There was one off to the left, but I wasn't looking that quick.
And how's your car holding up?
Yeah, car's going good. Yeah.
Love that. All right, good luck.
So we're going to see a few limping to the finish line by the sounds of it. There's going to be some damaged cars.
Oh, here we go.
Up.
So he's got back onto the stage. This is Tom Clark, everybody. So left-hand drive for Tom Clark. Look at that colour scheme. What we need to get Jackie to find out is what actually happened, because he's either got back out or fixed the problem. Let's see what he's got to say.
So that didn't quite go according to plan. What happened?
Yeah, no, we lost brakes about 10k in, so just couldn't get a pedal at all, so I had to stop to see what was going on. Not 100% certain. Doesn't look like we busted a line, but we've got absolutely no brakes, so I just had to settle tail out of that last bit, make sure that we didn't do any damage, so we'll go have a look.
It was challenging enough without that going on. How were the stages?
Yeah, look, the first stage was okay, probably a little bit tentative in there. Started her off in that one, but that's a real blow to the day.
All right, good luck for the rest of it.
So no brakes. So if it's not hard enough already, take away the brakes, right?
Yeah, and look, he's probably been. I didn't hear any of that, so I'm relying on you for that part of it. But the thing is, no damage on that, so he hasn't stuck it off. The trick when you haven't got any brakes is trying to, can I slow the car down? What is safe and reasonable? To be honest, this is probably one of the worst stages to lose brakes on. You can get away with it on a flowing stage, but as soon as you have junctions and difficult parts where you need to, reduce the speed, you can't just fire through the cars down the gear and stuff. So I don't know whether he's chosen to pull over, they've rectified or pulled a brake line off or not.
He did pull over, yeah.
Okay,
so he had to pull over to see what was going on.
So maybe they've rectified that, in which case he could keep going, but he's obviously dropped all the time in the stage. If you can get to the end and then rectify it, you're not burning up your stage time. I mean, he's literally lost probably 15 minutes in there in the stage. So his day is almost as bad as Harry's is in a way. Yeah. To sort of clarify on Harry rejoining, what that means is the next two stages that we expect he'll lose, he will get a 10-minute time added to the fastest time. So you're almost starting this afternoon with a 20-minute gap. So he'd have to make some fairly serious inroads. Mind you, the more cars that are out, the more chance he could get to some points. So that'll be high on their priority. So that's what happens. You can rejoin, but you'll be penalised for the stages that you miss.
Yeah, good pickup, good explanation. And noticing that on the side of the car there, he had Go Daddy written. That wasn't a sponsorship from a telecommunications provider. That was literally one of his kids.
From the kids. How good to be able to do that. I mean, I actually think the cars ended up looking fantastic, to be honest. It could have gone a lot of different ways. But I don't know why that car, like you said, these are series. Now it's an M Sport Ford. I mean, we have nearly the 4 pick of the manufacturers that you want to have, everything apart from probably a Volkswagen, who aren't really actively involved in Rally 2. We've got Ford with the M Sport car, with Tom behind the wheel of that one, the Skoda and the Toyota and the Hyundai we talked heavily about. So for them to be losing the brakes in here seems very odd to me. Something's not quite right there, or are we on the brakes too much and it's not set up for that? It just seems odd.
Dean, he said in there as well, quite cresty.
Yes.
The road.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, that's when the pace notes become a big thing. And depending on the tree line, where we're looking at, you get a guide as a driver by looking over crest. You get a bit of a tree line guide. But, you're looking and committing to your pace notes. But that trickiness, there's lots of little blind crests and kickers and stuff like that make this great when you get it right. Not that much fun when you get it wrong. So,
well, we're going to welcome home one more of our competitors in today's second stage of the Toyota Gazoo Racing Rally of Canberra. And after we speak to our next competitor, we will be back this afternoon from 2 p.m. as we return into the forests of Tidbinbilla and get an update on how things are progressing.
Let's have a quick look overall now. This is after the two stages in an overall sense. So Scott Petter leading Hayden Paddon by 6.9. That fight will continue, I'll guarantee. Lewis is 20.8, but there to take advantage of any dramas they might have. Alex close. He's only about 9-odd seconds behind, so 29 behind the leaders, which is a fair gap to be fair, but he's in the fight close to Lewis. Then we got some gaps. Shout out, like we said, Josh Wiedman sitting there with 135 off the lead. He's 5th outright. Fantastic job in the Mitsubishi. Harry is 6th outright, but got big dramas with that right rear missing. Pete Rullo is in the 8th. Look at this, Standout as well. Tony Sullins, talked about lack of traction. That's a lot of experience there, though.
Yep.
Okay, he's 2 minutes 48 off there, but 8th outright so far. Jody Mill 9th, and rounding out the top 10 was Andrew Penny. Having a great time in his Subaru. So,
I think driver of the day for my vote would go to Josh at the moment. Josh Wiedman, that's been quite outstanding from him so far. But, I mean, Harry Bates is going to be the talking point.
Yeah.
So we'll continue across our socials here to give updates to everyone at home on what the damage is once we get back to Service Park and find out a little bit more about that. Of course, they're very savvy. I'm sure they'll be providing some updates on their own social media platforms.
And an update I just had in there. We've got people out on the ground everywhere. Brett Middleton just texted me, and I do have some range here, as it turns out. So Mick Harding, who's the local driver in the Subaru, has gone out to hit a bank over a crest, went off, and it looks like the rear suspension broken a wheel. A little bit Harry style, obviously, out of the Subaru. Big
Not
race.
Harry Styles.
No, that's Harry Style. Yeah, correct. So shame for Mick, who was a great supporter of this round last year. Actually, he had the event title sponsorship, so it was good to see him back in the event, but obviously not his day today. So thanks for the update out in the field.
So this will be our final competitor for our live stream coverage here until we return this afternoon.
So an Evo here with Tim Wood on board as the driver.
How challenging were those rounds out there?
Incredibly challenging, very greasy and slippery, especially under the trees. Once you got out from under the trees, it was really, really good road, so really enjoying it.
So you would have seen a few cars stop. Did that make you nervous?
It's pretty good because they're off to the side of the road, and so, yeah, it didn't play in my mind too much. So, yeah.
How's it happening?
Yeah, it's good. We've had problems yesterday with the green car, we didn't do much, so this is the first road we've done.
So far, so good. Thank you.
As the other one comes to the line now, so they're coming through. There, you actually hear him struggling to get the anti-lag off. So a lot of turbo cars will have anti-lag, which is a turbo. So the car kicking and bucking a little bit there as we see some of the later runners come through.
I think he summed it up. Greasy and slippery and tricky in the shade. And I think that sums up what's been a wild stage 2 for day 1 of the Toyota Gazoo Rally of Canberra. We are underway with plenty of headlines for the EROAD Australian Rally Championship on day 1.
It's already started.
Woo!
It's already started.
Underway. We'll see you later this afternoon, 2 o'clock, right here on our socials and on speedcafe.com. But from Dino, from Jackie and from myself, it's bye for now. We'll see you later this afternoon.
To keep filming to the end of ARC?
No, I wouldn't bother filming at all.
Bring the cameras back?
Yes, and the transmitters.
Let's